Behind me, you see all of the strawberries back on the table. Now, what does that mean today? Well, some of them are bright red and ready to be picked. So let's do that now. So I've got a little bowl here and also all of the strawberries here. So what I'm going to do is, I know we bagged these not too long ago, but I'm just going to take a look at some of these. Okay, so that one isn't actually that ready to be picked yet. So I'm going to pop that back in the bag. That's a good one to start with because it's really hard to tell with this mesh. So this one next to it, I can see that is bright red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one out of the mesh. Oh my goodness. Look at that. So I'm just going to break that off. And now we have our first ever strawberry. Look how red that is. That's insane. So I'm just going to pop that in the bowl and we're going to see how many we can get out of this this little collection of strawberries. I'm going to remove that one from the bunch. Again, let's just do exactly the same here. So this one looks like it could possibly be ready. I'm just going to pull that one out. I'm going to say that one's done. I'm going to just pinch that off. Now, it's really hard to tell with some of the crop because, as you can see, on top here, it's almost like it's been split or something has happened in the process. Now this is due to the weather change. There's nothing really we can do about this other than keeping them where they need to be, which is outside in the sun so they can ripen, but there's nothing you can really do. Oh, that bunch there, nothing's really happened, so I'm just going to pop that back in the pile. Now this one here, this looks pretty cool. If we get rid of some of the foliage, you can see, oh no, this actually isn't what I wanted to see. What's happened here? Again, because of the weather change, this is something that's going to be inevitable. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. You can see a lot of these have split. This one especially, something's happened there because it's reacted to the weather. I'm just going to pull that off and then pop that on camera, but you can see that does not look like a healthy strawberry, but nothing has really happened down this end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add that into the bowl because the fruit is probably still going to be edible, but we've just got to be cautious looking around some of the fruits and making sure it is edible. But these splits are basically where the weather has changed in temperature. This one looks fantastic. Look at that. Should we do a live taste test to see how good this actually is? I might just rinse it off first. A bit wet. Alright, here we go. That is incredible. Look at the colour inside. Now, I said this in one of the previous videos, but inside one of the strawberries, if it's shop bought or bought from the supermarket, you won't see it as red as this inside. Normally they pump it full of chemicals and it gives this white outer layer, so when you cut it open it has this weird texture or weird pattern, almost like it's like icicles inside, but that, you know, is not a good fruit. Whereas homegrown strawberries are always bright red inside. That's how you know it is made with love, care and attention. Just continue. I'm going to leave this one a bit longer. I'm going to pull that stem off just so there's nothing the plant isn't putting all of its energy into growing something that isn't even there. And I'm just going to pop the cover back on there and pull the string tight. That's another one done. Look at the runner off of that. You can see this is going to be a brand new plant, and I'll show you in another episode what I'm going to do. I'll just twist that one so we get the foliage out of the way, but we can see this looks fantastic. All of these strawberries this year have done so well. Now, again, if you didn't watch the last video, you probably wouldn't have heard me say that I have fed them so much, and I didn't realise that with fruits, you're not meant to feed them as often as you would veg. Look at that. How incredible is that? Amazing. So what I did is I basically fed all of my strawberry plants probably about once a week or maybe 3 times in the month over the summer. When I looked on the back of the bottle, it actually said that you're not meant to feed them that often. You're only meant to feed them like twice in the summer. So once at the beginning and once at the end. Now, I'm not recommending that you should do it, but what I am saying is the fruits this year have been pretty big. So, you know, do your own judgment. Now let's continue with some of these ones. Now this one hasn't done very well at the moment. So these strawberries here haven't done anything. They're still green. And you've got all of these ones in here as well, which are really green. I might take these ones out. Let's have a look. It's still a little bit ripe. Do you know what? I'm going to leave those because they're not quite ready, but they are a really good size. Look at this. What an odd shape that one is. That doesn't matter because we're not selling them to a shop, are we? We're making them ourselves and we'll be consuming them as well ourselves. I'm going to pick that one because, again, the green one isn't ready. This is another really good example of what a strawberry should look like. So it's mismatched shape. You've got all of the splits on top, again, because of the weather change. But it looks amazing, doesn't it? It looks like a fantastic fruit. So I'll pop that in the bowl. And I'm going to leave this weird shaped one on here. These ones here, again, they look fantastic. This one has been outside of the bag because if you remember, when I was bagging them, I didn't have enough bags. I ran out. This is exactly what happens. This was a really good experiment one to show what happens if you don't bag them. So as you can see all the way around the fruit, it has been nibbled at, it has been eaten. This could be anything from slugs to like little bugs that like to dig into here and live inside the fruits. It could literally be anything. So I'm not going to eat this one. I'm going to put that straight in the compost. All of these look fantastic. Again, they're not quite ready. I'm just checking for any little bugs living on them. But again, look at that. Fantastic. The bag right up and pull it tight. There we go. They all fit. Show you this one here, which isn't good at all. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to take this whole branch off and you'll see why. So if we take the bag off and then pull out the stem, oh god, you'll see that these fruits have got mouldy and infected. Again, this is something you'll have to expect at some point in your crop. I'm just going to pop those down there and I'll see if I can... Oh, it's so slimy. But look at this. That is an infected strawberry. That is... oh, that is disgusting. Look at the residue left on the hands. I need to wash this bag before using it on some new fruit. But this is what happens if we have an infected strawberry. It starts to do all the others. I don't quite trust that this is going to be big enough or isn't infected as it is. So I'm just going to leave that one altogether. However, on the same plant, we see these ones here. So this one looks fine. It's fantastic. But because it didn't have a bag on it, it's been eaten. What a nightmare. But this half of it hasn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that off and I'll pop that in the bowl. Oh god. But this one wasn't even formed yet and it's still been eaten. That's not good at all. And what we do have on this side is a new shoot, as we can see. So again, we know this one's a really good one. He's come a little bit early. It's not quite his feed time. Is he coming into the garden? Looks like it. And he's just going to make his way out of the hedge. There we go. It's good, really, because we haven't seen him in a couple of days. So it's good to see that he's still about. This one now, I'm just going to pop over back into the pile over here. I'm just going to leave that one, a new one there, just pointing up into the air. And then we're going to do this last one here on the table. So this one is fantastic because... Let me bring the fruit round into shot. Look how good these look. That's fantastic. So I'm just going to pull the bag open, pull out the fruit. Wow. So we've got this one here. Just going to pull that off. Again, it looks a little bit crinkly on the edges, but this is due to the weather. It's not too squidgy, so it's kept intact. Got a bit of muck up there. I don't really know what that is. I'm going to pop that in the bowl, as will I with these ones. Again, fantastic stuff. Pop that in the bowl. Now this one is a bit of a weird one, because you've got all of this split up here. Give that a little squidge. It is a bit soft up there, and up here as well. I don't really know what's going on there, but it looks like it's intact, and it could be potentially a really good fruit. It might be a bit sour, I don't know. But as for the rest of them, these ones could probably fit in the same bag. So I'm just going to pull this bag open and pop this stem just in there with those ones, and then pull that tight again. So now we've freed up this bag, and I'm going to pop these ones just over here. I'm going to pop them near the front so I can keep an eye on the strawberries in this pink bag. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to twirl it round to the side and just rest this bag, not inside the compost, but just on top of the compost in the next pot, the neighbouring pot, like that. Now, you might have seen these ones here. I just want to show you how good these are. I'm just going to pull this bag open, because this is one of my biggest strawberries that I've ever done. Look how big that is. It's massive. It fits in the palm of my hand. I have never grown anything as big as this before. It's huge. And look how bright red it is. This is insane. And I put it down to the extra feed that I did in the summer. Now on the same bunch, if we have a little look, I've got strawberry rot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this one off immediately. And we can see that this one's starting to go mouldy. To think that this was in the same one as this is very dangerous. So we really do have to keep an eye on all the strawberries and what's going on individually. It's a shame really, because this side looks fine, but you cannot let that destroy the rest of the crop. I think we caught it in the nick of time really. So they look okay. I'm going to pop those in the bag, just like that. So it's really looking at the fruits individually and seeing how they're doing to be able to judge whether or not it's worthy of separating them or keeping them in the same bag. And again, I'm just going to pop that on a neighbouring pot like that. Now that extra bag that I've just gained, we've got all of these strawberries here that didn't even have a bag to begin with. What I'm going to do, God, these are so big. Might even move the camera over here just to get it all in shot. Just like that. But what I'm going to do with these ones are still flowering up here. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to let the bees pollinate those before I bag them. These ones, again, they're not overly big, but these ones are quite big. And if you can see there, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but it is going pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop these inside this bag, just like this. Now that stem happens to just sit in there, so I'm going to cover those, but I'll wait for another bag to come free before I give them a separate one. But just in case anything tries to eat them, at least they're covered. So what do we say to this? I mean, look how red they are. It almost matches my very t-shirt that I'm wearing. But this one is incredible. Look how big that is. It's insane how massive that strawberry is. But this whole bunch of strawberries, it's fantastic. And you get free fruit from growing it yourself. I've got so many more strawberries to come, and this is just a bowl full. This is just a punnet of strawberries that I've left to do their own thing in the garden. It's incredible. I cannot get over how big that is. Maybe what I'll do is I'll eat all of these ones, and then the next batch will try and turn into Dean's jam. The laughable harvest jam. Of all people, Jeremy Clarkson actually inspired this channel for me to be doing this in the first place. And make sure you consider growing your own fruits and veg, because it is so important. Let me cut to why it's so important right now. After visiting the pub, I completely changed how I think about food. I started growing my own. I cleaned up my diet and even lost weight. It wasn't planned, but it was helped with one small shift in mindset, and it all came from watching Clarkson's farm. I wrote everything down and turned it into a short ebook. Inspired by the man himself, I've called it How Hard Can It Be? You can learn all about how I began growing food, and I share my thoughts on something really controversial, why most people won't be doing it themselves. If you want it, it is completely free. Just join my mailing list in the link in the description and I will send it across to you for free. Just one more time, did I mention it's free? And for the last time, it is free, so make sure you check it out in the description down below. Right, I'm going to go enjoy these because these are incredible. See you soon. Cheers.